Hi everyone, beautiful day today. Many of you have been to New York City or you hope to go. And today I'm going to talk about what happened on June the 12th, 1665, when the Dutch flag of New Amsterdam went down and the British flag of New York went up. And part of the fun of visiting southern Manhattan today is a little bit of that old Dutch streetscape is still there. Before the Europeans came to the Manhattan area, it was mostly wooded and occupied by native peoples. Around 1524, Verrazano sailed in this area, and we think he was probably the first one to see New York Harbor. At around the same time, the Dutch East India Company was quite active in Indonesia, what was known as the Spice Islands, and they were looking for another route to the east over the top of North America. So in the early 1600s, they sent Henry Hudson to look for what was known as the Northwest Passage, and he went up the Hudson River as far as Albany, more or less. Later, Adrian Block was also tasked by the Dutch East India Company to explore. He probably drew the first map of the Manhattan area and also got an island named after him, Block Island. So we have New Netherland along the Hudson, and the darker pinkish color was British colonies in the Connecticut area. So New Netherland had colonies up and down this region, including the Schenectady area where Albany is. And they actually started a new company called the Dutch West India Company. The goal was the beaver trade, and you've got some fierce-looking beavers on this coat of arms. Well, in the 1620s, Peter Minuit came to New Amsterdam, southern Manhattan. He's the one that supposedly bought Manhattan from the Indians for around $25. Here's the monument in Battery Park, but that's really not accurate since the Indians didn't see themselves as selling anything. They just thought the Dutch were going to use the land. That was their concept. And then Peter Stuyvesant comes later. He's a real company man for the West India Company. And anybody is welcome to New Amsterdam as long as they behave. So it was all about trade. Well, Britain and Holland were in a big trade war in the mid-1600s. The British Navy was better, and over time they were victorious. And one morning, the British Navy showed up in New Amsterdam and told Peter Stuyvesant he had to surrender, which he did, partly because nobody wanted to fight. They were content with how things were. So New Amsterdam becomes New York, named after this guy, the Duke of York, who later becomes King James II. He happened to be head of the Navy at the time. So if you look at this map of the early Dutch colony, you'll notice the wall. This became Wall Street. You might see at the top De Herenstraat. This becomes Broadway. And one of the fun things about going to southern Manhattan today is parts of it incorporate that old Dutch streetscape. And it's kind of fun to walk around those neighborhoods. Well, the seal of the city of New York includes a guy in Dutch clothing. You see windmill blades, you see beavers. The seal of the city of New York is on this monument in Battery Park, which has a Dutch inscription. This was given to New York by the government of the Netherlands in the 1930s, but it's in Dutch. Stuyvesant himself moved a little bit north into the Bowery area, which is the Dutch word for farm. He probably worshipped at a Dutch Reformed church here, which the Brits tore down and built an Anglican church, but they allowed his body to be there. So you can still see the grave of Peter Stuyvesant. And that's worth a look. It's kind of a neat neighborhood in that part of New York City. So lots of Dutch legacy in New York. The Met's colors come from the flag of Dutch pirates, orange for the House of Orange, white and blue for the sea and the sky. The 5 boroughs of New York City include Dutch words like Brooklyn and the  Staten Island is named after the Estates General, the government of Holland. And a really good book to read is this one, The Island at the Center of the World. It's about New Amsterdam, and particularly how its legacy of tolerance became a real American legacy. So next time you're in New York City and you're ramming around, if you feel like it, go down to the south and near the Battery Park area, and there's a lot of reminders there of the Dutch settlement. So have fun.